today's lesson of the game. I know it's a pretty quick lesson because we didn't take up homework, so we're probably going to do that sometime, but for now, it's fun to kind of look at these games. So, who knows these two people here?
Louis something blah blah blah. Alexander McDougall?
Alright, so this is a pretty hard one. Hey Sean, do you know any of these two people? This is a pretty hard one because
I know the second.
Okay, well that'll be if you know any of these people, I'll be impressed because this game was played in the very recent year of 1834. So think about that, 200, almost 200 years ago, 190 years ago actually, this game was played. Between two players, I believe both from France. So this game was apparently played in London for some reason. Oh no, Alexander's from England, yeah. But this was played between, I won't even try and pronounce that, let's just call him Louis. Clearly my French is not good. And then Alexander on the bottom, right? These two were considered the best players of their time. And I looked at this game and I was like, this is a really interesting game because usually when you think about the 1800s, what do you think about? You think about polymorphy, sacrificing like everything. You think about players going with King's Gambit all the time.
No.
Right? Well, I mean, Evergreen game, Immortal game, they're all from this time, and you see those kind of moves where they just play crazy stuff all the time. And I look at this game, I'm like, that's interesting. There seems to be kind of like a positional concept. That's really, really cool. Anyways, let's just go straight to this. So, E4, C5, Sicilian was played. This is what we call the old Sicilian. I used to play this as black. They call it the old Sicilian just because what do players do nowadays? Instead of knight c6, what do they play? E6, yeah, they can play E6. That is definitely a move that is played before. The more common move is D6. This transposed into a lot of the variations, right? D4 captures, knight captures, knight f6, knight c3, and then this is knight orf. This is dragon. I feel like I think this is Shevningen. This might be a Kalashnikov. Lots of cool, funny names that, unless you really play chess, you probably would never kind of know. But if you're playing black, you have a lot of options here. So if you're, who plays Sicilian?
Not me.
Yeah, so, for you, Annie, I think you like the shadowing, so
Yeah.
G6 going for dragon is the idea.
Wait, that's what the antenna? Alright, yeah.
Yeah, right, so for other players, right, you go to the top level, you're going to see a Sicilian every single tournament, at least 5, 6, 10 times, lots of times. Sicilian's very popular. There's so many variations that can be played here. In this position, it's being analyzed a lot. Anyhow, this is the old Sicilian because there's not many people play it anymore. It's still played, but not as much. All right, do you want to see this from black's perspective or white's perspective? Let's go from black's perspective. Okay.
Wait, who won the game?
Black.
Okay.
Although, I don't know. I'll switch it a couple times. E5 is played, it looks very weird, but this ended up happening. Now, the most common move and the best move is definitely knight b5. Try and take advantage of kind of this weak pawn that has been created after e5. That is, I believe, the best variation. Yeah, it's the most common move. And I believe the idea here would probably be playing e6, take the knight out, and just develop normally. Yeah, this position's also been played a couple times. Knight c6 isn't played that much, just because after b takes c6, black can get a really strong center with d5. So kind of white doesn't really want that lots of times. Bishop c4 is played, you don't want the center, okay, knight f6. Here, the pin was played, okay. I don't think there's anything wrong with playing knight c3, but bishop g5 was played, bishop b7. Queen e2 is a weird move, just because if white wanted to defend the pawn, there was always the option to play knight c3 and just develop pieces. Queen e2 is a bit weird, but it's not that bad of a move. but now black goes d5. So we get to a point where both sides castle, most of the development is finished, right? Black's gonna try and get this bishop in, white's gonna try and get this knight out. And we've got to a point where, hey, I like black, black has the center, right? Those two pawns in the center are really, really nice for black. And, well, okay, here's a bit of an advanced concept, but what do you notice about the minor pieces that black has versus the minor pieces that white has? Black has two bishops, and white has a bishop and knight.
Do what bishops?
They're both worth the same points, right? They're both 6 points. But, generally speaking, especially in, would you consider this position open or closed in between?
I think more open.
Yeah, I would consider this more open as well, right? There's opportunities for lines to be created, and the bishops are generally better in open positions, right?
Yes.
And knights are better in closed positions. So that can inform your decision making. If the position's very closed, you might want to trade your bishops with their knights. Or if the position's very open, you might want to trade your knights for their bishops. And in this case here, Mr. Louis has what we call the bishop pair. The bishop pair is a tiny advantage, but it's also it's an advantage. And especially when positions become open, the bishop pair gets really powerful compared to like a knight, right? So let's take a look at how you might want to play this. A5, tricky move. What is black trying to do?
Pad. No, wait, pad. Like,
Bishop A6.
yeah.
Right away you can see bishop A6, but also, what else is black playing? A4, yeah. 2 moves to win material here. So it looks like, okay, white might be in a bit of trouble. Well, what does white play? Captures first, okay. White plays rook e1. So white manages to kill both these threats in one. Bishop a6 doesn't attack the rook anymore, and now a4 will run into bishop takes d5. So it's good for white. But black's gonna push the pawn. Now this is a weird move. This is a weird move. Engine says this is like okay, it's like you lose like what, 0.3, that's nothing. But for me, positionally, it's just a weird move. But it's hard to play as well, right? I believe Alexander played this for a couple reasons. One is now after a4, there's like bishop c2, which is fine. But, and also maybe he wanted his own pass pawn, right? We can't en passant here because of our queen. So maybe he's gonna try and push his own pass pawn. So that's always a good idea. If you feel like you're getting kind of cramped, you might want to create your own attacking opportunities. This one though is a bit weird. It blocks the bishop, that's one. Also, like, now you just made this pawn like really strong. So if you can ever push this 2 up, that'll become a very big problem for white. So black gets out of the pin, queen b6. The bishop comes to c2. Probably to play bishop e4, I guess. So bishop b7 was played. That makes sense to me. Why was queen takes b2 not played?
Why queen takes b2?
Harvey?
Because bishop can take h7.
Yes, bishop takes h7, right? The discovered check. Whenever you see your opponent giving you a free pawn, right? Always check, what is this guy trying to do? What is my opponent trying to do? Are they trying to trick me? So Louis thought about it, Louis, yeah, tricking me for sure. So black plays bishop b7. White plays knight b2. Now you could play queen takes b2. You could win the pawn, but I guess they just calculated queen d3 threatens mate, and also it threatens rook to b1, right? Leaving the queen to the bishop. So black didn't want that to happen. So black didn't play it. Rook a8 was played. Now black, you can see black is getting all the pieces in, getting all the pieces into the attack, trying to push those pawns up, right? And over here, white is trying to defend. So white's putting pieces in front of the pass pawns to try and blockade it, right? And maybe with the knight on e4, maybe ideas with c5 could start to take shape. So bishop d8 was played. Why wasn't bishop e7 played? Maybe because black wanted the rook to still protect the pawn. So c5, queen c6. Now there's that battery, so white's like, yep, no, you're not going to checkmate me. Bishop e7, attacking pawn, rook c1. Okay, why can't we play bishop takes c5 right now? Yeah, this is just the calculation training. Why can't we play bishop takes
Let's
c5?
go to check.
Yeah, let's go with that.
So this is how you get your calculation sharp, right? So good for white to kind of see, hey, I don't need to play things like queen to c4 that I have to defend the pawn right away. I can just get my pieces in, right? And with calculation, I know that my rook is defending the pawn. f5 played. Well, I mean, black needs to make some progress, so black goes f5. But it does allow white a bit of counterplay. Check. And bishop a4. So I guarantee you white here probably thought he was winning because white is up getting the exchange. But Louis plays a lot of good moves in a row here. So one is after bishop takes rook, many players will like, okay, they take me, I take them back, and play rook takes bishop. But after rook takes bishop, c6 will be played, and c7 will follow, and we're going to have big problems. White's going to push their c-pawn before we do. So we got to be quick. We take this knight instead.
And then you check.
Okay, c6, see, white is trying to push forward. But we don't care. You can take my bishop, but I'm going to play kind of queen e3 ideas. Right? Let's see. I think I have. What happens if they take the bishop? Queen e3 check, take the pawn check, and we just start checkmating. Right? So it's dangerous. It's dangerous for white to take the bishop here. So white decided to play rook c2. Okay, you give me queen e3 check. It's fine. I can play king h1 because at least when pawn takes pawn, I have my rook to defend. Well, I guess that was what white thought. But after bishop c8, the bishop is now on the promotion square, so white's going to try and deal with that, try and get rid of that. Now black is going to push. So it's kind of like a race. You see, white is trying to push the c pawn forward, black is trying to push the f pawn forward. And so far, black is winning. Right? Black's having that pawn at the end of the board. It's pretty dangerous. White's like, okay, rook f1, I'm going to stop it before it does anything. d3 was played. Now the queen doesn't protect the rook anymore, so we can have like threats like queen e1, right, where we attack the rook. That can be dangerous. White plays rook c3 here to attack c3. Bishop takes, pawn takes, and e4. So okay, let's just for a change of pace. We're looking at it from White's perspective. White is up a pawn, and white is up a point. Because white is up the exchange, but does it really feel like white is better?
No.
No, yeah, it looks cramped, right? These passed pawns are really dangerous. 3 connecting passed pawns. You don't see that often in your chess games. 3 connecting passed pawns. White has a passed pawn, yes, but the promotion square is protected by both the bishop and the rook. So white's going to try and create something, but black's just like, no. Whatever, what are you going to do? We can't do anything. So it's hard to play. White doesn't know what to do anymore. White's like, I don't know, I'll just try and defend now. My pawn's not going anywhere. And now black starts the attack. So black goes queen e1. If rook takes, then we take back and win. So rook to c1 is played. Then we play d2. Crazy stuff. Right, so you can't take the queen still because then you'll take back the promotion. Queen c5 to attack the rook. Black's obviously not going to give up. Play rook to g8. Now, if white plays queen takes f2, what can we play?
Queen takes rook.
Yeah, we could play queen takes rook. That is definitely a move we can play. We can also just play queen takes queen,
Yeah.
right, and then take rook after. So, lots of different kind of calculations. Take this, take that, what happens. And it gets hard. So rook d1, this is kind of a weird position. You don't see this every day, but it's a weird position, yeah, right? Those 2 rooks are protected. black can't use the queen to take the rooks, but the black queen is also protected. So it's kind of like a stalemate. Are you gonna take mate first, or not? Okay, now if black can get e2 in this position, that'll be pretty funny, right? That would be pretty funny. Okay, so here, all right, let's think. If black goes e2 right now, what can happen?
D2, they cannot take the pawn or else it's mate.
I'm gonna put a double. This looks so funny, alright? I want to play this as black, but it doesn't work. Why? Because the queen on c3 actually does something. The queen x-rays this black queen. What that means is, okay, let's say we take this queen here, right? And we take back the queen. Well, then white can take like this, and then this is, and there's no way for black to defend this pawn. So, you know, I think black will still win this, maybe not, actually. Yeah, I think black might win this, probably. But, you know, you don't win right away, so why play e2 when you have opportunities to do other things, right? So instead, well, black just takes one of the rooks, e2 is played, and this is the final position. White resigns here. Just imagine being Mr. Alexander here and having to play this position. Look at this. You're up, you have a queen for the bishop, right? But look at this. Ooh. You know, if we went by the law of like, okay, a pawn on the 7th is worth 5 points. Like, this is 15 points of material right here. Look at that. Well, what's white gonna do? It's hard to play, right? This is definitely gonna be checkmate. So, yeah, white resigned here. This is a really cool game. I like this game. Primarily because like it's not too crazy. For a game that was played 200 years ago, you know, the engine doesn't really think it's that bad. So that's really impressive. Good job to these two players. Anyhow, that was the final thing I wanted to show. Did you like that game?
Yes.
Yeah, that game was really cool. I like that game. Anyhow, you guys can play chess.